That wasn't muted. All right, here we go. Enough rambling. We are back on it, guys. Here comes the cast. All right, and okay, so we can see that it was an overpull opening. The Overlord already popped out the second one. The spawning pull is down. The hatchery obviously not on the way. And let's see what the opening is for Shuttle. Very eager. A gateway first. Oh man, gateway is just the way to go these days, isn't it? No one likes going for that nasty forge, getting out a zealot early, and especially because this isn't cross spawn, this is a horizontal spawn. There will be a zealot just that's gonna head north, and this is gonna be great. You know, a flash for the win. You need to message me on a day. I'm always casting Tuesdays and Thursdays. Please message me on TL if you want to cast ahead of time so I can like hook up my internet to the cord so I'll be faster and get everything good to go. Otherwise, I don't want to like stop mid-cast. All right, so back on board here. That's enough talking with all the finaglers in the chat room. So this Zealot is out. Going overpull first really helps out with this gateway first style build because, you know, dealing with the Zealots can be a nuisance enough here. We can see that there is a additional hatchery just coming up at the mineral only. And so I guess Circuit Breaker allows that. You can just take, you know, the nice close third. And look at this. So the Zerglings are going to try and encroach on this Zealot. And it's just sitting in the best spot possible to try and pick off as many as it can. But I would say a 2-to-1 trade is actually pretty good. And somehow, this is like a Bisu level probe is making it out of here. So Shuttle just won the ASL. He's been playing pretty good lately. I don't think there are any complaints there. And so anybody who is a Shuttle fan, actually, we're now calling him Eyewater, but I wrote Shuttle on the screen. Everybody's familiar with it, so I'll just kind of switch back and forth. All right, and have it up already. That's funny. So these games were live a couple days ago, and this is just a rebroadcast of them to give an English cast. So anybody who is just coming in now, this is live, obviously, with me talking here. So the Zealots are pushing forward, trying to kill off a few more Zerglings as they can to make it over to the natural base, maybe the third. And each round of these Zealots is just really tough to deal with because Zero has to constantly be calculating how many drones am I going to have to cut and replace with Zerglings to be able to kill off these units here. We can see already another drone getting picked off inside the natural base. So many Zerglings right now are being constructed by a Zero. He's got just a huge amount, and you know, it's just unfair because behind the Shuttle is going to be able to defend against this insurmountable amount of Lings, you would think. And so whatever these Zealots do is just kind of icing on the cake because the worker production has been slowed down so much at this point in the game. And Zero, it's not like he can stop this kind of production. He has to, you know, treat these Zealots with respect because there are so many already out in this early game. This is why going gateway first is the way to go. As soon as you put down that forge on Circuit Breaker, you're suddenly going to be overwhelmed with a 5 or 6 hatch style build where like a huge amount of Hydras are just going to kill off everything unless your High Templar timing is perfect. So that's kind of the case here. And I think a lot of the players, even though you can get Corsairs faster with the first gateway, I think a lot of the players just like having this harassment stage that prevents them from being so reliant on Corsairs in the game. Especially since we don't have too many players that can play with Corsairs at such a high level. Shuttle's actually one of the players that has been performing with Corsair play really well lately. So if anything, I would expect him to feel pretty confident going up against Zero, who is one of the better ZVPers in the scene. So look at this. The Zealots are blocking up the holes here. 2 cannons from behind. So even if there were, you know, 50 Zerglings right now to try and bust down the front, all of them would get killed off. It's just not an easy way for the Zerglings to get in. And, you know, so Zero's gonna have to just kind of maintain his position out back, wait for that hatchery to finish, and maybe we'll see Spire play. I don't think so. but Lurker Hydra can definitely be really strong for Zero. What I've liked to see in the late game, and this is actually one of the styles that actually killed off Shuttle recently, was that I think it was Zero. Zero would go for a lot of these mid to late game just constant drop plays where you would see his overlords, dropping lurkers one or two at a time behind mineral lines and really killing off a lot of probes because Shuttle was just constantly on the map and not able to take care of his home base while he was trying to be aggressive against the Zerg player, and that cost him the game. That's why we saw Bisu lose to Hero in one of his tournaments too. Hero played that so well that just lurker drop play, and it's tough for players, Protoss players, once they get to a 4th and 5th base to really deal with that kind of harassment. All right, so we see that Shuttle, his early game harassment, I'd say, was pretty good. It set the economy behind pretty well. And so Zero, not wanting to build too many more actual units here, is just going with some sunken colonies to defend against these zealots. And I actually really love the double sunken colony positioning here that we're seeing at this natural base, but it's still not going to be enough. Where are all the links that were there earlier? There are so many speed zealots coming in right now, and this timing is just insane. It seems that Zero might actually be able to win this game. He's losing a critical 3rd base, and it doesn't even matter if he is able to get towards that lair tech and get some of the better units for the mid game. These zealots have done so much. A lot of drones trying to do the drone drill to keep the zealots off the sunken colony just died off right away. And okay, so the transition here is Mutas, and it would have to be Mutas. I totally agree with this move, because even though there are a ton of zealots here, they're just gonna die off too quickly between the stacked defenses and the amount of Mutas that are coming out for Zero at this time. So without any anti-air units, except for this beastly Archon that's on its way, these Mutas are gonna be pretty good. Look at this. So any swipe right here will do a ton of damage to these Mutas. Oh, but look how much damage the Mutas are doing to this Archon. This was actually, up until that point, wow, that was phenomenal micro. I would say that he got more shots off on that Archon than the Archon was able to get swipes off on the Mutas. Meanwhile, he still has to get this 3rd under control, but I think at this point, because of his ability to get the shots off in favorable times, this was really good for him. And Zero's going to have to go for counterattack quickly, maybe fly into the main base and try and pick off a lot of probes because Shuttle is anti-air light. This is a critical moment where Zero might be able to at least keep this game going for a little bit longer here. The expansion to this 3rd, I'd say this is actually a pretty weak expansion for Shuttle because he's not taking a gas expansion, and really gas is pretty critical into getting a lot of these High Templars into the mid game, and so not expanding into a gas area is just going to be making a tougher mid game for him. Of course, you can always just go lots and lots and lots of zealots, but I think High Templars are very necessary, especially dealing with these Mutas that Zero has out. Okay, so now that there's no more aggression from Shuttle, he's gonna have to move out here and try and get these Mutas to go to work. So many Corsairs have been made, though. 3 Corsairs, and this is gonna be enough to defend those Mutas. How sad is that? So even though it's a nice group of Mutas, they seem to be patted down from that initial Archon engagement, and just between the 4 of them that came out as a response, it seems that Shuttle is doing a really good job now of defending. And the Archon, or these Hydralisks are trying to move down to possibly add aggression to the 3rd base. But I just don't think that it's going to be good enough. Those 2 High Templar have been building up energy for quite a while now. A couple key storms are going to kill off those Hydras because it's really only like 1, maybe 2 control groups. And that storm can spread across at least 1, and they can get eliminated very, very quickly here. Alright, so the Mutas are moving in, trying to encroach onto this main base, maybe pick off whatever probes they can here, but it has to be an immediate split. Oh man, this flock has been just decimated here. The dive in was not worth it, and the Corsairs are cleaning everything up. Once again, Zero doesn't have much. He has to go very, very defensive here, I believe, because... Oh, look at that. That's what I said here. The one store really covers all of these Hydralisks here, and this is just almost a suicidal attempt by Zero, who's realizing that he doesn't have that much left to win this game in. And if he allows this third to be heavily mined from, then he's going to lose this game because the bases are even, and this heavily favors Shuttle at this point in the game. Look at that, another Archon forming. So even though the shuttles have been spent, the Zealots with their +1 and speed are engaging so +2 now. Oh man. So these upgrades are just insane now for the melee attacking units here, and the DPS is just going crazy, leaving carcasses everywhere on the map. Shuttle has played a perfect game so far, and Zero cannot handle it. GG. What a game. That was a really tough game for Zero to deal with. Shuttle playing perfectly and showing why he was the ASL champion. Alright, let me see if I can go ahead and get game number 2 set up here, because we will be here all night if I did not power forward here. Okay, we've got that ready to go. Let's remove this. And if you guys were expecting regular weekly Dagger, I'm just trying to do my best to make up for the games that I missed over the past week. I missed a lot of the group stages of Thrill Starleague. I'm sorry I wasn't able to cast it. I had to travel to Seattle, and in the meantime, my laptop was broken by either Delta or the TSA. My microphone was broken. So if anybody wants to give me some sympathy money for the fact that I tried to cast from Seattle and I had all of my important equipment broken, especially my sunglasses that I wear for cast, then please donate $1 to the stream. And that'll help me get my computer screen repaired, which is just so sad. This is not even a year-old computer. My microphone tripod that I've had since the beginning is broken. So disappointed. All right. Did I get around to casting the Nalroth Starleague? I casted some of the Nalroth Starleague. Did I cast all of it, though? No, I just casted some. I didn't get to do it, so I'm sorry. In fact, I know I'm going to regret saying it, but there is a one series that I haven't casted yet. I don't even want to say the name of the tournament, but I plan on watching it soon and possibly casting it. Except for Sale already did the cast, and I don't like to repeat work by English casters. So I'm just going to have to watch that on my own in silence. Okay, let's bring this up. Game number 2, this is going to be, and, oh, did I actually, I switched to the wrong scene here. Let's stay on this, Shuttle versus Zero, and let's go ahead and update the score. 1 in favor of Shuttle. Okay. Let me know if, like, I don't know if the sound adds anything, because obviously there's a caster in the background, but if it's too loud, let me know, and I can always fix that. Yeah, someone already calling out. I have not seen the KT Giga match. I'm sure that you guys will just spoil that for me. Please don't. If someone has any heart and soul, then just clear the screen if someone posts any of the results from that, because I haven't had any time to watch it. Okay, so game number 2 underway of our round of 8 series. We're watching Shuttle versus Zero. A TVT is going to follow. It's going to be Last versus Haya. And then Hoja, who's Hoja playing lastly? I'm just going to click over here. Hoja versus Mine to close it out. How the hell? Hoja coming back from nowhere. Hoja has 0 tournament results. He is a player that only did well in playoffs. He did not do well in individual tournaments. So him making it to the round of 8 on its own is just its own fascinating miracle. So we're going to see on match point, a Shuttle spawning at the top right-hand corner, Zero spawning down at the bottom left. I am your host, BisuDagger, and I welcome all of you to this wonderful cast. The Thrill Starleague, pretty cool, huh? So this is actually crowdfunded. And why can't more things be crowdfunded? Thrill Starleague is a Africa BJ who has popularity enough to say, hey guys, can you come in here and we'll get people to throw some money your way, make it rain. And so that's what happened there. And okay, so in this game, we're already seeing the overpool. I don't even know if we need to start calling out Zerg builders anymore. The fact that it is overpool is just like, nothing's ever going to change here. But remember that we did see in the first series of Rain playing against Sharp. That Rain went for a 2-gate build and then actually proxied out a robotics facility to follow up with some Reaver Dragoon crazy madness in that series. So that was a really fast, quick game number 2, and the series overall was really fast. So are we going to see Protoss domination in this Thrill Starleague? If Shuttle wins out here, he will be playing against Rain in a PvP. Now, PvP monster Bisu, who has over an 85% win rate since he came back from in this SOSPA era, he is not competing in this tournament. So who is going to be showing as a confident and prominent PvPer if Raid and Shuttle end up matched up against each other? Right now, it is the Forge opening, and I think Forge is really important here. It's a little bit easier to get Zerglings past this opening, and so you want to do the Forge expand to be able to defend against Zerglings. Now, because of this overpull timing, Zerglings coming out pretty quickly here, and look at that, the hole already open. It looks like the cannon is going to get killed off. There's Zerglings there to finish it off here, and the gateway lagging behind here too. That was a decent amount of Zerglings to be able to get it into the main base. This is just going to be non-stop harassment. It looks like he's probably going to lose all 4 of these probes if they don't make it over to the natural base. This is fine. Shuttle can still defend against this. He has a cannon on the way. In fact, these Zerglings may try and dive in and kill off one more cannon, but they have the time right now to kill off a Nexus inside the main base if they want to go for it. Look at that! So the cannon gets killed off one more time. Zero is going all out right now, knowing that he needs to win this and take it to a game number 3. His life is on the line, and Zero has to hold the title of best Zerg right now. He really needs to take this tournament if he wants to have that that title under his name. Although I really think it. Who else? Who else is challenging him? I know that Jaedong is coming back to challenge for the throne. Effort. Where is Effort? I don't see him. Effort is just kind of flaking out. I think everybody's got to be disappointed with how Effort's been turning out. His EVP is actually getting pretty bad too. I think that's one of the problems that he's going to have to solve. So hopefully he does. All right. So, someone's saying RIP Sonic. Yeah, unfortunately, Sonic is long gone. It's been years now since we've seen anything from Sonic. And we got to find out who's going to be the next huge contributor with a lot of money coming into it. I think that KT is really the one. We're seeing these special tournaments from them, and maybe the potential tournament sponsorship also. But at least Africa is able to just hold the helm in terms of premier tournaments and getting Kongdu involved to be able to get all the proper players in. The fact that we're going to have Jaedong, Stork, Bisu, and Flash and the Africa Starleague, are they already automatically qualified? That's what I'm curious about. I'm not sure, but there was the announcement that they will be participating in this tournament in some fashion. So how Stork automatically gets seeded to the round 24, I think that would be actually really, really bad for the scene because he is far less deserved and he's really under practiced compared to all of the other players. We know that at least Jaedong as 424 was smurfing so hard to get his skill level up. Okay. So we can see that Zero has actually taken 3 bases right now. He's got an extractor coming up. This is just a constant problem. Oh my god. Anybody else getting tired of these Zerglings getting in? This is what killed Protoss players off. And I would say 2014. 2014. In 2014, Protoss players had this huge problem with being able to make proper walls and prevent Zerglings from doing this early game harassment. This is why Quanbro was prominent in 2014, because he just was able to take these big games from just easy Zergling micro. It's how sad. You know, and I don't know. I think that Shuttle's kind of caving in this game with this constant harassment. And with the 3 bases already taken, constant probes getting taken out, I feel like a Hydra timing's got to be coming very soon. Oh, if not, these Zerglings just here to take the win right now. Oh, Shuttle, you have fallen apart. Look at this. The Zerglings taking all the cannons down. The probes coming to defend along with the Zealots. So much mining has been delayed. The macro hatcheries are up. Everything coming in Zero's favor. He is playing a brilliant game in response to Circuit Breaker, where he was completely picked apart. I think Shuttle, without the proper macro, without the right timing for his builds, is showing that he can't really evolve to deal with this kind of harassment very well. Match point showing a quite exciting game for the first series and now this series also. These cannons just can't finish quick enough here. This Zerglings did a lot of damage. You can see that the gas mining really isn't there. A second gas hasn't been taken. And what's there for defense? I thought it was going to be Hydras. I misread this. Mutas are coming out right now and full force. Only one Corsair here. And this is going to be absolutely brutal. GG! Eyewater calls it. He is out. And that is going to lead us to a game number 3. Wow. Zero is out for blood. This is like pouring, blood into the open ocean. All the sharks just coming in the swarm. That's what I felt like we were seeing there. And look at that, only 8 minutes and 14 seconds. What a quick game. All right, let me pull up game number 3. Let's keep this show on the road. Game number 3 here, yes, and click the spoiler. Let's bring this up and minimize the timer tab here so no one sees. Bam! Game number 3 on the way. Looks like I've got the score tab I've got to upgrade here too. Set that to the 1-1. Our first ace match of the day coming out of the second series here. Yeah. You know what? If America builds as poor wall as Shuttle did, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, guys. Trump America, right? You got to joke at this sort of thing, okay? I'm not saying I'm pro or anti anything, or for or against anybody. I have no opinion about that, so you all can love me. I'm just gonna make some wall jokes, okay? That's it. All right, let's move on. I already feel like just saying Trump and wall already lost half the viewers here, and that's not many. Oh man, the Koreans have a pretty good wall, and so does North Korea. I mean, actually, I'm not sure that North Korea actually has a legit wall, but it's more South Korea wanting to keep the invasion out. But it's literal minefields everywhere. And so what they're doing is they're actually building tunnels under the minefields into South Korea. And it's just kind of crazy when the South Korean government defines these tunnels are like, oh, Jesus, and then, close them up like ballers. All right. But do you know how scared North Korea is going to be when Flash, Bisu, Jaedong, and Stork are all in the military at the same time, leading as generals? They go in at 4-star generals or whatever rank equivalent that Korea has. And that's just incredible. They're going to bring them into the war room. This is going to be like the literal Ender's Game. We're going to have 4 like super nerds in a room, and they don't know that they're playing real people, and they think, spoilers by the way, but they think that this is just like a video game, but instead they're just like dominating everybody with real people's lives. Oh man, I could talk about Ender's Game all day. What a great series. Okay, so the gateway coming out, gateway first, Shuttle is going back to what succeeded. He said, I don't have time for these pitiful cannons. I've got to go with a gateway first. My first zealot out is amazing. And so let's see if Zero can deal with this. This is going to be obviously tough for him. And let's see what's going forward. The initial probe coming out, going to be scouting out down towards this bottom left, revealing the fact that he has a pretty close spawn, which is going to make his initial zealot even stronger. How awesome is that? And okay, so we're the entire scout out there, seeing that it is the typical spawning, the overpull build here. If I say spawning pull first, people actually critique me because they're like, well, the Overlord was there. You have to say overpull. So I always correct myself. I try and be accurate when I can, but sometimes when I'm having a lot of fun casting games, I'm just saying as much shit as possible, and you guys just have to take it for what it's worth here. Zero obviously trying to get that natural base up, along with getting the Zerglings out to mitigate any damage from these initial Zealots. And, these Zerglings could run in pretty quickly. The Zealots aren't coming out across the map. And imagine if 4 Zerglings made it inside up the ramp. I think that this that show of just that initial Zergling actually scared those Zealots onto the ramp instead of them pushing out. And that's almost like a super mind game right there that we're seeing from Zero. Just showing just a little bit, just a few pixels of Zerglings. And now he's coming in with 2. And it would actually be pretty funny if he started to just wear down that pylon at the gateway. It's going to force a Zealot at least off the ramp there to help defend and keep his building alive. Okay, so now the Forge is coming down. It's going to be a little late, you know, when the cannons come out, if Zero decide to go for some Zergling aggression. But still, the wall's pretty solid, the Zealots are there, and this is going to be adequately defended. I think what Shuttle's doing here, instead of being aggressive like we saw in game number 1 with Circuit Breaker, is that he's going to be choosing to stay defensive, get you know, get a decent amount of Zealots ready for when he does go for the, you know, speed +1 timing. He's going to have probably twice the amount that we would have expected in Circuit Breaker when he pushed out in that game. So everything going pretty solid right here. Only 1 cannon, and I think the cannon is necessary. Some people may even be so greedy that they don't drop that cannon down, but as soon as you leave your base, then 1 or 2 Zerglings can make it in. So you won't see a pro player at the highest level, you know, scrape away without getting that cannon at the Forge. Let's wait for a ZVP where I'm proven wrong. But I think that's just, you know, it's ingrained in a Protoss player to get that 1 photon cannon out. So these Zealots, while slow, while unupgraded, we can see that the Forge still isn't spinning, are in decent numbers here to at least take on the initial force. But there are a huge number of Zerglings still for Zero. A much greater number prepared to deal with these Zealots. And if he gets to surround and kills off these Zealots, a quick switch to Hydras off these 3 bases will really be pretty much an easy victory for Zero. So Shuttle has to be careful not to lose these Zealots. We've seen a lot of Protoss players where they go for these timings, they get picked off in the middle of the map, not even making it to the natural or the 3rd where you can get damage, and then they have such a tough time dealing with that Hydra follow-up from Zerg. You know, this is, remember, Zerg is favored against Protoss, despite all the BS that you might say comes from Protoss players here. And this is really interesting. So a defense on the outside of the wall instead of on the inside. And a typical Protoss defense is 3 or 4 cannons on the inside and the Zealots behind it. And you would see a Protoss player maybe lose the Forge or lose the Gateway. And instead, we're seeing that this is like an aggressive defense. And because the cannons are outside the wall, it means that he wants to keep that Forge alive. He wants to keep the Gateway alive. He doesn't want to lose those, you know, nice-to-have buildings in the mid-game instead of having to rebuild them up inside the main base later. So instead, it's a forward pylon here, an additional forward cannon, and the Zealots are going to sit on the outside. The problem is they're slow right now. So despite the cannons coming up here, and the random Corsair that's getting to go out and just hunt for Overlords and scout out, the Zealots just really can't come back against Hydras too easily at this point. When the Link's coming in here too, this is way too strong of an attack. I think that the outside cannons were a mistake here. We're seeing that the probes are getting pulled here too. What the cannons on the inside allow you to do is, 1, finish them up in a timely fashion, but also allow you to get more defense ready. Just that was terrible, and a really risky build order coming out for Shuttle, and that's gonna eliminate Eyewater from this tournament. Zero will advance, and it's gonna be Zero versus Rain and the final 4. Wow. Okay, so remember to stay hydrated. Okay, let me finish the water off here. You heard it. I finished it. I'm going to go take a quick break. I'll be right back. Everybody chill.